say this is largely happening because while America allows its value of the dollar to be set by the free market, and that determines the cost of labor, that China manipulates the cost of its currency, the yuan, so it can control the cost of labor because they have a lot of people they need to employ. They'd like to keep labor costs low to attract a lot of business. Now, it's difficult to do a one-to-one comparison because productivity is very different between the U.S. and China, but let's look at it this way as much as we can. If you had a U.S. factory and you wanted to produce something there, by the time you paid a laborer all the benefits, all the salary, and everything else, that's going to come out to about $34 an hour. To do the same thing in China, it's going to be more like $2 an hour. So the Chinese government has structured its infrastructure and everything else to support this idea, to bring factories in, to take advantage of that cheap labor, and to put inexpensive products out to compete on the world market. And boy, does it compete. Look at this graph showing what has happened since 1985. This is how many Chinese products we were importing in 1985, and it has gone up and up and up and up, so that this is a recession right here, by the way, that little dip there. It's now reached levels up here, dropped down a little bit more, but a tremendous increase in the number of Chinese products coming into the United States since 1985. But now look at what we're sending over there. U.S. products in 1985 were about even with Chinese, and now not nearly as much. It's far behind. What can a president do about that? Well, they could put some kind of a trade barrier in place to stop the Chinese imports, but if they did that, China would probably respond with trade barriers to U.S. products going there. They could say to U.S. companies, you can't go over there and take advantage of that cheap labor. But if that happens, those companies are at an even greater disadvantage on the world market. On top of which, you have to remember, China has been buying a lot of U.S. debt. If China stopped doing that, it could make it hard for the government to borrow money to keep operating. So when the candidates say, I will crack down on China, you can take them at their word. Certainly the president has taken steps. Certainly Mitt Romney says he will take steps. So this is true, but the simple truth is China is a strong competitor, and it has withstood several efforts to rein it in. It will probably continue doing so. So even though they may mean what they say, it's far from the last word on U.S.-China relations.
Tom Foreman, thank you. We'll get you back to the presidential race here in just a moment. But first, this monster of an energy drink, supercharged with caffeine and more, now is being cited in 5 deaths across the country. Elizabeth Cohen has new details on where the government investigation now stands.